Could you hear that? My mic is hot, so watch yourself. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. Don't touch it. That's yeah. Hi everyone. Welcome back for those of you who are here this morning, and welcome to those of you who are on Zoom. I'm going to just put on my talit, and while I do that, if you still haven't disabled your phone, go ahead and do that. I know there's a danger involved in that. I put mine on silent, and I spent the last 15 minutes running around my house looking for it because if I want to call it, it's on silent. Nevertheless, I ask you to do that. And Sandy asked me to announce that we also have parking passes for the garage. If anybody's parked in the garage on the way out, or even if you get it now from one of our ushers. So our Yizkor service begins on page 540. And let's sing this beautiful song together, Eli, Eli. Eli, Eli, shelo yigamer leolam, achol v'hayam, rishru shel hamayim, berak hashamayim, tfilat Adam, achol v'hayam, rishru shel hamayim, berak hashamayim, tfilat Adam. Eli, Eli, shelo yigamer leolam, achol v'hayam, rishru shel hamayim, berak hashamayim, tfilat Adam, achol v'hayam, rishru shel hamayim, berak hashamayim, tfilat Adam. So we're gathered here this afternoon for this hour of memory and reflection and missing and remembering, this hour of memory on this very, very special day, on this one day in which we ourselves are feeling, connected a little bit more to more things, something greater than ourselves perhaps, and of course those who are part of our life and are no longer with us are a part of those memories. So we turn to page 544 in our prayer books, and we read together these words from Psalm 16 that have the sort of headline, secure in the presence of God. They begin with the words, Shiviti Adonai lenegdi temid, ki miyamini val amot. Let's read it. Keep me, Eternal One, For in you I find refuge, and in you my soul finds its peace. Guardian of all my days, you are my cup from which I drink, and the portion of my life. I thank you for guiding my steps, for the inner voice that instructs me. I have set you before me always. With you beside me, I cannot fail. So my heart is glad, my soul rejoices, and all of me can rest secure. For you will not abandon me in death. You will show me the path of life, and your presence is fullness of joy. On page 548. Let's read this responsively. At birth, a miracle, emerging into light, we breathe it in, the nisham. And every day, every breath comes to us as a miracle. The light within us, unique and precious, is always. When breath has ceased and life has gone, and the spark that lived inside the ones we loved, unique and precious, beautiful and good, is theirs no more. Their light is ours, their radiance now burns in us, eternal flame of memory. So we light candles to keep our love alive, to bring their light into the world. A light unique and precious, ours to treasure while we live. A ner tamid that lights our days and gives us strength to journey through the nights. So our custom in this Yizkor service is to call up 7 groups of people who will come forward and light each one of the 7 Yizkor candles, and then do the reading. So since we want to make sure that we get those voices on Zoom as well, not Zoom, on YouTube, on our live stream, please speak into the microphone after you've lit the candles. So the first ones I want to call up John Rothberg to light the candle, the first candle, and to do the reading on page 549.
The death of a loved one is the most profound of all sorrows. The grief that comes with such a loss is intense and multifaceted, affecting our emotions, our bodies, and our lives. Grief is preoccupying and depleting. Emotionally, grief is a mixture of raw feelings such as sorrow, anguish, anger, regret, longing, fear, and deprivation. Grief may be experienced physically as exhaustion, emptiness, tension, sleeplessness, or loss of appetite. Grief invades our daily lives in many sudden gaps and changes, like that empty place at the dinner table, or the sudden loss of affection and companionship, as well as in many new apprehensions, adjustments, and uncertainties. The loss of a loved one throws every aspect of our lives out of balance. The closer we were to the person who died, the more havoc the loss creates. Love does not die quickly. Hence, to grieve is also to celebrate the depth of the union. Tears are then the jewels of remembrance, sad but glistening with the beauty of the past. So grief in its bitterness marks the end, but it is also praise to the one who is gone.
On page 553, I'll be reading Linda Paston's poem, The Death of a Parent. Move to the front of the line, a voice says, and suddenly there is nobody left standing between you and the world to take the first blows on their shoulders. This is the place in books where part one ends and part two begins, and there is no part three. The slate is wiped, not clean, but like a canvas painted over in white, so that a whole new landscape must be started. Bits of the old still showing underneath, those colors sadness lends to a certain hour of evening. Now the line of light at the horizon is the hinge between earth and heaven, only visible a few moments as the sun drops its rusted padlock into place. On page 555, the second candle, Larry Zippen and Gretchen Garrett.
Adonai, how hard to fathom that we are worthy of your care. How astonishing your awareness of us. For we are like the morning mist, our days a passing shadow. At dawn we flourish anew, by dusk we wither and fade, sending us back to earth's dust. You tell us, return, you who belong to humanity. If only we were wise and understood what lies ahead, for when we die, we carry nothing away. We leave our possessions behind. So mark the wholehearted, take note of the upright, for there is purpose in a life of integrity. Adonai, you replenish the lives of all who revere you, and those who trust in you will never despair.
So we sing together on page 556 from the second line in the Hebrew, Shir Lamalot. We sing the second line. Esa enai el harim me'ain yavo ezri. Esa enai el harim me'ain yavo ezri. Ezri me'im Adonai Ose Shamayim va'aretz Ezri me'im Adonai Ose Shamayim va'aretz. On page 557, this poem by Edna St. Vincent Millay, The Courage That My Mother Had. The courage that my mother had went with her and is with her still. Rock from New England quarried, now granite on a granite hill. The golden brooch my mother wore, she left behind for me to wear. I have no thing I treasure more, yet it is something I could spare. Oh, if instead she'd left me the thing she took into the grave, the courage like a rock, which she has no more need of, and I have. Take a moment just for silent thoughts, fathers, mothers, grandparents. On page 561, we'll light the third candle. I want to invite George Beller and Khaki Brooks.
The echo of your promise. When I cry, my voice trembles with fear. When I call out, it cracks with anger.
How can I greet the dawn with song when darkness eclipses the rising sun?
To whom shall I turn when the clouds doesn't eclipse the rays of tomorrow?
Turn me around to yesterday that I may be consoled by its memories.
Were not the seas split asunder? Did we not walk together through the waters to the dry side?
Did we not bless the bread that came forth from the heavens?
Did your voice not reach my ears and direct my wanderings?
The waters, the lightning, the thunder remind me of yesterday's triumphs.
Let the past offer proof of tomorrow. Let it be my comforter and guarantor.
I have been here before, known the fright, and found your companionship.
I enter the sanctuary again to await the echo of your promise.
So we'll sing together these words on page 562 at the top of the page. Haneshama lach, the soul is yours, v'haguf po'alach, and also the body is your work. Chusa al amalach, have mercy on your creation. Haneshama lach, v'haguf po'alach, chusa, chusa, ahalam alach, הנשמה הלך, והגוף פועלך, חוסה, חוסה, העלם הלך, הנשמה הלך, והגוף פועלך, חוסה, חוסה, ahalam alach. On page 563, I'll be reading Grace Paley's poem, I Needed to Talk to My Sister. I needed to talk to my sister, talk to her on the telephone. I mean, just as I used to every morning, in the evening too, whenever the grandchildren said a sentence that clasped both our hearts. I called. Her phone rang 4 times. You can imagine my breath stopped. Then there was a terrible telephonic noise. A voice said, "This number is no longer in use." How wonderful, I thought. I can call again, and they have not yet assigned her number to another person, despite 2 years of absence due to death. So we light the 4th candle on page 567, and I invite Judy and Jeff Morton to come forward.
stars up above, so far away, we only see their light long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we have loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember.
Ya da 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 ya da 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 ha da 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 ha da 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 da. So on the next dozen pages, beginning on page 5, 60, 67, 8, 9, and going all the way to 578, there are a whole bunch of reflections on the Yizkor prayer, about the Yizkor. There are some meditations, beginning on page 572, for an infant, for a child, what happens after death, for a parent who was hurtful, for a person who died by violence. So we're all here with different memories and different situations. So we take the next few moments in the silence just to peruse those pages and to be with your own thoughts. So I invite you to keep reading as I sing this nigun, or you can join me. It's the nigun that we learned this morning. Ya da 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 da, ha da 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 da, ha 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 da 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 da, we turn to page 579. I want to invite up Kathleen Ford and Richard Bonney. Richard Bonney for the fifth candle on page 579.
This is Psalm 90. Adonai, through all the generations, we have found our home in you. Before the mountains rose up, before the birth pangs of the earth, you alone have been with us, steadfast and constant for all time. In the end, you return us to the dust, saying, "Come home now, daughters and sons of Adam and Eve. You are mortal. In your sight, 1,000 years pass in an instant, like a fleeting watch in the night. But how brief the span of our lives. Our years flow by in a dream. We sleep away our days. In the morning we blossom in beauty. In the evening we wither away. Burnt like grass in the blasting heat of summer, we perish like chaff on the wind. A human life may be 80 years and 10, or 80 years for those who are blessed with strength. So many days consumed by toil and troubles. Then our time is cut short, and too soon we go into the dark. So teach us to number our days, that we may bring home a heart of wisdom. Give us a sense of your presence. Nourish us with your compassion. Knowing your love at the dawn of our life, let us live our days in contentment. May our moments of joy surpass the times of struggle. May we taste the sweetness of each precious day. May the work of our hands bring fulfillment.
On page 583, at the bottom of the page, let's just chant these last words that are from Adon Olam. Biyado, we sing of Kid Ruchi, and in his hands I place my spirit, Be'et Ishan ve'ayira, when I sleep and when I rise. Biyado of Kid Ruchi, Be'et Ishan ve'ayira, ve'im ruchi keviati Adonai li ve'ira beyado afkid ruchi be'et ishan ve'ayira ve'im ruchi geviati Adonai li ve'lo ira. So the sixth candle on gratitude on page 585. I want to invite Marcia and Ivan, Logan.
gratitude for the next generation. If some messenger were to come to us with the offer that death should be overthrown, but with the one inseparable condition that birth should also cease, if the existing generation were given the chance to live forever, but on the clear understanding that never again would there be a child, or a youth, or first love, never again new persons with new hopes, new ideas, new achievements, ourselves for always and never any others, could the answer be in doubt?
When we fear death's decree, let these bring us solace. The memory of loved ones who have gone before us, a vision of generations to come, through whom we reach far into the future, beyond our own lives.
I'm going to read on page 589, Ted Kauser's poem, Father. Today you would be 97 if you had lived, and we would all be miserable. You and your children driving from clinic to clinic, an ancient fearful hypochondriac and his fretful son and daughter, asking directions, trying to read the complicated fading map of cures. But with your dignity intact, you have been gone for 20 years, and I'm glad for all of us, although I miss you every day. The heartbeat under your necktie, the hand cupped on the back of my neck, Old Spice in the air, your voice delighted with stories. On this day each year, you love to relate that at the moment of your birth, your mother glanced out the window and saw lilacs in bloom. Well, today, lilacs are blooming in side yards all over Iowa, still welcoming you. Take a moment for silent prayer. And the seventh candle is on page 592. We won't have a reading, but I want to invite Fran Feigert to come forward and just light our candle.
One morning, after my mother died, his hesitant tap on the shoulder stopped me as I left the synagogue when I had just finished saying the morning's Kaddish. I turned to face Father Mons, who was ready. A tall, gray-haired gentleman with a football player's thick build. I didn't mean to be presumptuous, he said in a soft voice. I know you're very sad right now, but I wanted to tell you that I went through that too, when my father died several years ago. And here's the thing. Believe it or not, I'm as close to my father now as I was when he was alive. Maybe even closer, because I've come to understand him better. He is inside me. I hear his voice. We are still so close. Then he smiled and waved goodbye, leaving me to ponder words that I began to understand only years later. What he meant, I think, was that our dead inhabit us like ghosts. The trick as he knew them then, and I have learned since, is to befriend them rather than to have them haunt us. They will greet us on sad anniversaries as well as in joy. We will imagine a deceased parent's response to her grandchild's arrival, or we will call back from memory the words or actions of the one person to whom we would have turned were he or she still alive. And eventually, when we hear that voice again, it will bring not just pain, but comfort and resolution.
So we chant together the 23rd Psalm in the Hebrew on page 593. Mizmor leDavid, Adonai roi lo echsar, b'nei teshe yarbiteni, al mei menuchot yinahaleni. Nafshi yeshovev, Nafshi yeshovev, Yancheni b'magle tzedek leman shemo. Gam ki elech b'geit almavet, lo irara, ki ata imadi, shiftecha umishantecha, shiftecha umishantecha, hema yinachamuni. Taroch, Taroch, Taroch lefanai shulchan. Taroch lefanai shulchan, neged zorerai. Dishanta, Dishanta, Dishanta b'shemen roshi. Dishanta b'shemen roshi. Kosi revaya. Ach tov v'chesed yirdefuni kol yemei chayai, v'shavti beveit Adonai, v'shavti beveit Adonai, leorech yamim. So we now have a few moments either to peruse the prayer book, the Psalm 23 is on page 594, or to look over the Yizkor books, the names of those from our congregation who we may or may not remember. And then we'll chant the El Malei Rachamim, the memorial prayer for the departed. So the El Malei Rachamim, the memorial prayers on page 598. We'll chant that In just a moment, I want to just read the names of those who, from our congregation, who passed away in the past year between last Rosh Hashanah and today. Nick Brandt, Norman Goldman, Michael Hess, Noah Samuel Siegel, Joni Brooks, Paul Alexander Tamarkin, Yaakov Hames, Rita Silvermetz, Judith Ginsburg Whitner, Barbara Grandis, Gordon Carpenter, Bill Suler, Charles Johnston, Charles Barrett Hoffman, Russ Arnold, Madeline Lefkowitz, Rusty Harold Rothstein, Isaac Irving Rosen, Natalie Queen, Barbara Ward, and Florence Kornblatt. So taking those memories and the memories of all our departed, we rise for El Malei Rachamim on page 598. El Malei Rachamim Shochem Bamromim Hamtze Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei Hashchina Im Kedoshim Utehorim Kezohar Harakia Mahasirim Leneshamot Yekirenu Shehalchu Leolamam Baal Harachamim Yastirem Beseter Knafav Leolamim Veitzror Betzror HaChayim Et Nishmatam Adonai Hu Nachalatam V'yanuchu B'Shalom Al Mishkavam V'nomar Amen. So we turn now to the Mourner's Kaddish on page 606. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah V'alma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute V'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye D'chol Beit Yisrael Ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru Yehe shmei Rabbah mevorach leolam leolmei almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh V'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shemei dekudisha, leila uleila, min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata, damiran bi'alma v'imru, yehei shlama rabba min shamaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol Yoshvei Tevel v'imru. Amen. On page 607, those who sow in tears shall reap in joy. Those who sow in tears shall reap in joy, shall reap in joy. Those who sow in tears shall reap in joy. Da 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 Our Yizkor service is concluded. We are going to go into Omansky Hall and rearrange ourselves, and in about 10 minutes, I guess, we'll gather together, those of you who wish, for about 45 minutes or so of Torah study. So the prayer books, let's see, prayer books leave here? No, prayer books, I guess hang on to your prayer books, okay, unless you're leaving, in which case drop them off. And may the memory of loved ones who you've thought about today be a blessing for all of us.